Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be taking a journey through No Excuses, The Power of Self-Discipline by Brian Tracy. This book is really it's just packed with insights
Hmm.
on how to kind of unlock your potential and really just achieve success. We're going to break it all down for you.
Yeah, it's funny. This is a book that I feel like resonates with so many people from different walks of life
Yeah.
because it really just tackles a fundamental truth,
Right.
which is that success in any area of life hinges on self-discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
right from the start, Tracy's own story really just grabs you.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have this privileged upbringing, but still he managed to achieve such incredible things. And it just makes you wonder, like, what was his secret?
Yeah, and that's really the question that he became obsessed with, right? And his journey really led him to this, you know, powerful conclusion that self-discipline is the common denominator
Yeah.
among successful people. And
Yeah.
in fact, he actually went from working manual labor jobs
Well,
to
yeah.
excelling in sales and management and eventually earning an MBA. So, he's really living proof that you can overcome any obstacle with the right mindset.
It's really inspiring. But you know what I think is great about this book is he doesn't just tell this story to motivate us. He dives into the nitty-gritty, the practical steps to actually developing self-discipline.
Mhm.
And one of the first things that he tackles is this idea of the path of least resistance,
Yeah.
which is, basically human nature to choose the easiest option, even if it's not the best one for us.
Yeah, it's like our brains are almost wired for instant gratification.
Right.
We would rather relax on the couch than go hit the gym, even though we know that exercise is good for us. And Tracy actually calls this the expediency factor, which is like this urge to prioritize
Yeah.
immediate comfort over
Yeah.
long-term gains.
Yeah. So how do we overcome that? It feels like we're fighting against our own biology.
Well, and that's where self-discipline really comes in, right? It's about consciously choosing the path
Mm.
that leads to your goals. Even if it's the more challenging one, it's about delaying gratification and focusing on the bigger picture. So think of it this way. Would you rather spend years regretting the choices you made or invest the effort now to create a future that you're actually proud of?
Mm. That's a powerful way to frame it. It's about choosing to pay the price of success up front.
Right.
Like putting in the work now
Right.
to reap the rewards later. It's like that analogy he uses. Success is like a cafeteria. You got to pay for your meal before you can enjoy it.
Exactly. There's no such thing as a free lunch, right?
Yeah.
And the currency for success is self-discipline. But the beauty of it is that it's a skill you can develop. It's like a muscle that you can strengthen with consistent effort.
And it's not just about achieving material success, right?
Yeah.
Tracy really emphasizes how self-discipline is vital for just
Yeah.
personal growth as well.
Oh, absolutely. He argues that self-discipline helps us to set clear goals, to build strong character, to take responsibility for our actions, and even develop courage. It's really about becoming the best version of ourselves in all areas of life.
One of the most fascinating things he talks about is the power of writing down your goals.
Mhm.
He claims it makes you 10 times more likely to achieve them.
It's not magic, but there's some really interesting science behind it. When you write down your goals, you're essentially activating what he calls the success mechanism in your brain. It's like you're programming your mind
Yep.
to focus on what you want to achieve.
But doesn't everyone have goals, though? Why doesn't everyone succeed?
Well, you see, that's because most people leave their goals floating around in their heads, where they're easily forgotten or overshadowed by just daily distractions. But writing them down makes them concrete, tangible. It forces you to clarify what you truly want and commit to taking action.
Okay, so writing down your goals is like a great first step.
Yeah.
But what about those times when you hit a roadblock, when your motivation wanes, and it's so tempting to give up? Well, Tracy's a big proponent of lifelong learning, and he talks about something called the 3% rule, which is the idea of investing 3% of your income
Yeah.
in your own self-improvement. And he actually tells this incredible story about a salesman in Detroit who did this and saw his income skyrocket.
I love that story. It really highlights the power of investing in yourself. But sometimes, even with all the knowledge and motivation, self-discipline can just feel like such a monumental task. Like, where do you even begin?
Tracy emphasizes the importance of finding role models, people who have already achieved
Yeah.
what you aspire to, and studying their habits, their strategies, their mindsets. He shares the story of Bob Barton, who was a salesman, who rose to the top of his company by observing and emulating the habits of the top performers. So it's about finding those people who are already soaring and learning from them. Don't just hang around with the turkeys, right? But what about things like fear and self-doubt? I mean, those could be such major roadblocks even when you have the knowledge
Yeah.
and the role models.
Well, Tracy doesn't shy away from the tough stuff. He acknowledges that. Fear is a natural human emotion, but he argues that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to control it and act in spite of it.
So how do we cultivate that courage? It's easier said than done, right?
Well, he offers some practical techniques, like what he calls the 100-call method for salespeople. It's basically pushing yourself to make those calls, regardless of the outcome, to build resilience and overcome that fear of rejection.
So it sounds a bit like exposure therapy.
Right.
The idea that repeated exposure to something we fear can help us to kind of desensitize and gain control.
Exactly, yeah. And he gives another example with Toastmasters, where people practice public speaking in this supportive environment to overcome their stage fright. The key is to consistently face your fears and act courageously, which ultimately builds confidence.
It sounds like it's not just about willpower then. It's about having the right strategies and techniques to manage our emotions and kind of push ourselves forward.
That's a great point. Yeah, self-discipline isn't about brute force. It's about understanding how our minds work and leveraging that knowledge to our advantage.
This is all so fascinating. I mean, we've covered so much already.
Yeah.
And we're really just scratching the surface of what this book has to offer.
There's so much more to explore. Yeah, we'll be diving into topics like persistence, work ethic, leadership, and even financial discipline in the next segments. One thing that really struck me about Tracy's approach is his emphasis on persistence. He calls it the persistence test.
Yeah.
Those inevitable moments when we face setbacks and disappointments.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go our way. So how does Tracy suggest we deal with those challenges?
Well, he's a big believer in the power of positive self-talk.
Yeah.
He actually suggests using affirmations like, I am unstoppable, or I never give up, to kind of rewire our brains for resilience. I know it might sound a bit cheesy, but there's actually some neuroscience behind it.
So it's like giving yourself a pep talk when things get tough.
Yeah.
Reminding yourself of your strength and your determination.
Exactly. And it's about consciously choosing optimism over pessimism. So when things go wrong, instead of blaming others or making excuses, focus on what you can control, learn from the experience, and keep moving forward.
It's about taking responsibility.
Yeah.
Even when it's hard.
Precisely. And that sense of ownership is essential, not just in our personal lives, but also in our careers. Tracy talks about the importance of a strong work ethic, exceeding expectations, and consistently delivering high-quality work.
He doesn't sugarcoat it. He says that to truly succeed at work, you often have to go above and beyond the standard 40 hours. It's about demonstrating your commitment and your dedication by going the extra mile.
He also emphasizes the importance of working smarter, not just harder. So that means identifying the tasks that yield the highest value, the ones that truly move the needle, and prioritizing them ruthlessly.
It's so easy to get caught up in busy work and lose sight of what really matters.
Right. And this ties into his discussion of leadership. He defines a leader as someone who sets high standards, works hard, and inspires others by example. It's not about holding a title. It's about embodying those leadership qualities in everything you do.
So it's about stepping up, taking ownership, and setting the bar high for yourself and those around you.
Absolutely. And this leadership principle extends to the realm of business. Tracy dedicates a whole section of the book to self-discipline in business. He talks about the importance of offering valuable products or services, meticulous planning, having effective sales systems, accurate pricing, and of course, a commitment to customer satisfaction.
So it's a holistic approach, looking at every aspect of the business through the lens of discipline and excellence.
Yeah. He also highlights a common pitfall for business owners, which is underestimating the importance of sales. Even those who acknowledge that sales are crucial often don't dedicate enough time to actually engaging in sales activities.
Like they get so caught up in the planning and the product development that they forget that without sales, there's no business.
Exactly. That's why he emphasizes the need to develop a strong sales system, one that effectively converts leads into customers. And it's not just about having a system. It's about making those calls, building those relationships, and putting in the time to make it work.
Speaking of putting in the time, Tracy also talks about financial discipline. He's a big advocate for delaying gratification and controlling spending to achieve long-term financial health.
Yeah, he introduces this concept of a financial freedom account, which is essentially a dedicated savings account where you consistently save a portion of your income. The idea is to let it grow over time through the power of compound interest.
It's about shifting our mindset from spending everything we earn to paying ourselves first. But for many people, Saving money can be a real struggle, especially when there are so many tempting things to spend it on.
Yeah, and he actually suggests starting small. Maybe saving just 1% of your income initially, and then gradually increasing that percentage as you become more comfortable with living on less. It's a gradual approach to building that financial discipline muscle.
It's amazing how those small, consistent actions can accumulate over time, especially with compound interest. It's like a snowball effect.
He really emphasizes the power of starting early. The sooner you begin saving, even small amounts, the greater the potential for financial security later in life.
So it's not just about making more money, it's about managing the money you have wisely and making it work for you in the long run.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads us to his discussion of time management. He stresses the importance of prioritizing tasks based on their potential consequences. It's about focusing on the activities that truly matter, the ones that have the biggest impact on your life and goals.
Yeah, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by our to-do lists and just react to whatever comes up. So what's Tracy's solution for this?
Well, he suggests a strategy called the A1 task, which is identifying the most important task that you need to accomplish each day and focusing your energy on completing it before moving on to anything else.
So it's about prioritizing ruthlessly and making sure you're tackling the most impactful things first.
Exactly. He also advocates for applying the 80-20 rule to time management. This means identifying the 20% of activities that generate 80% of your results and focusing your time and energy on those high-impact tasks.
It's about recognizing that not all tasks are created equal, and some have a much bigger impact on our overall success than others.
Right. And this requires a shift in perspective. Instead of just reacting to whatever comes up, we need to proactively plan our days, prioritizing those tasks that are aligned with our long-term goals.
It's about taking control of our time instead of letting it control us. But even with the best time management strategies, we're bound to face challenges and setbacks. So how does Tracy approach problem solving?
Well, he emphasizes the importance of a proactive approach, focusing on solutions. Rather than dwelling on the problems, it's about taking responsibility, even when things go wrong, and finding ways to move forward.
Yeah, it's so easy to get stuck in a cycle of blame and negativity when things don't go our way.
He talks about the link between problem solving and self-efficacy, that feeling of competence and confidence in our ability to handle challenges. The more we focus on solutions, the more capable we become. It's a positive feedback loop.
So it's not just about fixing problems, it's about building that inner confidence that we can handle whatever life throws at us.
Precisely. And that confidence spills over into every area of our lives, from our relationships to our overall sense of well-being.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. Tracy doesn't just focus on practical strategies for success. He also delves into the deeper aspects of happiness and fulfillment.
He identifies 5 key ingredients to happiness: health and energy, relationships, meaningful work, financial stability, and peace of mind. And he argues that a shortfall in any of these areas can negatively impact our overall happiness.
It's a holistic view of well-being, recognizing the interconnectedness of these different aspects of our lives.
He starts with the foundation of health and energy, emphasizing the importance of self-discipline in maintaining a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, so we all know we should be eating healthy
Yeah.
and exercising regularly. But does Tracy offer any specific insights into how to actually make those things happen?
He cites the Alameda study, which identified 7 key health habits that contribute to longevity. These include eating regularly, eating lightly, avoiding snacks, exercising regularly, wearing a seatbelt, not smoking, and getting enough sleep.
Those sound pretty straightforward, but I think the challenge for most people is consistency. So how do we make these healthy habits stick?
It's about building them into our daily routines, making them non-negotiable. He also emphasizes the importance of proper nutrition, specifically a balanced diet that includes lean protein, fruits and vegetables, and plenty of water.
And of course, exercise is crucial.
He calls it the miracle drug for its ability to boost both physical and mental health. It improves mood, sharpens cognitive function, strengthens the immune system. And he also stresses the importance of maintaining a positive attitude, arguing that optimism is one of the most powerful predictors of health and happiness.
So it's not just about what we eat and how we move our bodies. It's also about our mindset and how we choose to view the world.
Absolutely. And that positive mindset extends to our relationships, specifically marriage.
Relationships. That's where things can get really tricky, even with the best intentions. Maintaining healthy relationships can be a challenge.
Tracy emphasizes the importance of compatibility, communication, and understanding the differences between men and women.
Those are all important. but they're also pretty broad concepts.
Yeah.
Does he offer any specific advice on how to cultivate these things in our relationships?
He stresses the importance of active listening, paying full attention to our partners when they speak, asking clarifying questions, and paraphrasing to ensure understanding. It's about making our partners feel heard and valued, creating a safe space for open and honest communication.
So many relationship problems stem from poor communication. It's so easy to get caught up in our own thoughts and feelings that we forget to truly listen to what our partners are saying.
Right. And he also talks about the importance of recognizing and respecting the inherent differences between men and women, understanding that we approach communication and emotional expression in distinct ways.
It's about appreciating those differences rather than trying to change each other, which is much easier said than done.
Definitely. And this principle of acceptance extends to parenting.
Parenting. Now that's a whole other level of challenge.
Tracy emphasizes the importance of instilling values and building character in our children, especially the values of integrity, honesty, and forgiveness.
But how do we actually teach those things? It's not like they come with an instruction manual.
Well, he shares a personal story about how he and his wife establish a no punishment for truth-telling rule in their household, encouraging their children to be honest, even when they've made a mistake.
That's a great example of how we can create an environment of trust and open communication within our families.
Exactly. He also stresses the importance of leading by example, recognizing that our children learn more from our actions than our words. It's about walking the talk, embodying the values we want to instill in our children.
So it's about being the kind of person we want our children to become.
Right. He also encourages parents to be forgiving, understanding that children will make mistakes as they grow and learn. It's about offering guidance and support rather than punishment and criticism.
It's about creating a nurturing environment where children feel safe to make mistakes and learn from them. And that sense of safety and acceptance is crucial for building a positive self-image, right?
Absolutely. Tracy talks about the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who value us, who reinforce our sense of worth and belonging.
But what about those times when we're feeling down on ourselves, when our self-esteem takes a hit? How do we build ourselves back up?
He introduces what he calls the law of indirect effort, which suggests that focusing on making others feel important ultimately leads to greater reciprocation. It's about shifting our focus from what can I get to what can I give.
So it's about recognizing that true happiness comes from contributing to the well-being of others.
Exactly. He offers 7 practical ways to make others feel important: acceptance, appreciation, agreeableness, genuine interest, attentive listening, avoiding criticism, and being courteous, concerned, and considerate.
It's about making a conscious effort to lift others up, to make them feel valued and appreciated.
And those actions ultimately create a ripple effect, boosting our own sense of well-being and fostering stronger relationships.
Well, so it's just about being nice. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of our happiness and the happiness of those around us.
Right. And that leads us to Tracy's discussion of self-discipline and peace of mind. He argues that practicing self-discipline in managing our thoughts and emotions is key to achieving inner peace.
We've talked a lot about self-discipline in terms of actions and behaviors, but managing our thoughts and emotions can feel like a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, he talks about the detrimental effects of blame and the importance of detaching from negative thoughts. It's about recognizing that we have the power to choose our thoughts and focus on the positive.
So it's about taking control of our inner dialogue and consciously choosing thoughts that empower us rather than drag us down.
He also emphasizes the power of forgiveness, arguing that it's essential for emotional well-being.
Forgiveness can be a tough one, especially when we've been deeply hurt. It can feel like we're letting the other person off the hook.
He introduces the concept of the forgiveness curve, suggesting that the faster we forgive, the less emotional baggage we carry.
So it's not about condoning or excusing hurtful behavior. It's about releasing ourselves from the emotional burden of holding on to anger and resentment.
Exactly. He makes a powerful point that forgiveness is ultimately a selfish act. We forgive others not for their benefit, but for our own peace of mind.
It's like that saying, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Forgiveness is ultimately about setting ourselves free.
It's a profound act of self-care. And it ties into that broader theme of self-discipline as the key to unlocking our full potential, not just in terms of achieving external success, but also in cultivating inner peace and happiness.
It's like Tracy's giving us a blueprint for a life well lived. It's not about perfection, but about making conscious choices day after day that move us closer to the people we want to become and the lives we want to create.
And he makes it clear that this journey is an ongoing one. Self-discipline isn't a destination, it's a practice. It's about showing up each day, making those tough choices, and consistently pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones. So after taking this deep dive into no excuses, what's the one thing you hope listeners will take away from this book?
You know, if I had to, boil it down to one core message, it would be this. Stop making excuses. Take ownership of your life, your choices, and your actions. And then start taking those small, disciplined steps day after day towards the future that you envision.
You got it.
No more excuses. It's about realizing we have the power to create the lives that we want. But it takes consistent effort and discipline to make it happen. It's not easy, but as Tracy shows throughout the book, it's definitely worth it.
Oh, absolutely. The rewards of self-discipline are immense, both in terms of those external achievements, but also that inner sense of peace and fulfillment. It's about becoming the best version of yourself and living a life that's truly aligned with your values and goals.
So if you're ready to ditch the excuses and step into your full potential, I highly recommend picking up a copy of No Excuses, The Power of Self-Discipline by Brian Tracy. It's packed with practical advice and inspiring stories, and it really can be a game changer.
Yeah, it really is a book that can transform your life if you're willing to put in the work.
And if you're looking for more in-depth summaries and reviews of inspiring books like this one, be sure to like and follow our YouTube channel, Audiobooks Quiver. We're constantly adding new content to help you unlock your potential and live your best life.
We believe that knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you with the insights and inspiration you need to achieve your goals and live a life filled with purpose and meaning.
Now, as a final thought, I'd like to challenge each of you to identify one area of your life where you can implement greater self-discipline. Starting today, it could be anything: your health, your finances, your relationships, your work. Just choose one area and make a commitment to showing up differently. So what's one small step that you can take right now to move towards that goal? Remember, small changes, consistently applied, can lead to remarkable results.
No more excuses. Start today. Your future self will thank you.
That's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.